Now, Clubhouse and platforms like Telegram was not my thing because, finding that community wasn't on priority. It was on my wish list. On Twitter, I remember Twitter Spaces started. It was like that Clubhouse thing where we all were, there and we used to talk. And that was like an audio chatting thing, group chat kind of a thing. And it was crazy. The experience was crazy. People were just being themselves, having fun. We like interacted with so many amazing people. I remember Ranveer Allahabadia joining my space, Manish Pandey. In fact, we even hosted a space, I and two of my friends, with Anupam Mittal and Ashneer Grover from Shark Tank.
Wow.
So what, actually gave me a confidence, a motivation that this platform is something, because otherwise I can't even reach to these people, and like they are not that accessible. But Twitter made that happen, and I've got some really amazing clients through Twitter. So getting work, getting clients, building a professional network was never the aim. The aim was to build a community, find people who are like me, who I can have fun with, and a platform where I can just be myself. So that's how it started, and I think that has still kept me growing. The reason that I'm growing even till today, the reason I'm getting so much love from people from Twitter, is because that they get to see my real side, my authentic side, a different side that they don't see anywhere.
Hey, this is your host Meenakshi Srivastava, also known as MyBohoVoyage, and I welcome you to another amazing episode of Inspiring Explorers. And as the name suggests, Inspiring Explorers is all about inspiring you with the inspiring life journeys of some of the most successful personalities from around the world, and they also share with us some interesting travel experiences that are not limited to sightseeing. For this episode of Inspiring Explorers, we have an inspiring explorer who helps sort personal branding for founders and entrepreneurs, Mahima Jalan. Mahima Jalan, the founder of Sorted Brand, has a community of over 40k on LinkedIn and 22k plus on Twitter in a span of just 3 years, and has built a strong personal branding solution for her clients that not only includes famous entrepreneurs and VCs, but also those who are Forbes 30 under 30 and unicorn founders. In this episode of Inspiring Explorers, we'll talk about personal branding, of course, do's and don'ts on how to use Twitter as well as LinkedIn for our benefit, and also we'll dig deeper into Mahima's journey so far. And before we start this episode, let me tell you that you can watch all my Inspiring Explorer episodes on my YouTube channel named MyBohoVoyage, or you can listen to them on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and Google Podcast. Just search for Inspiring Explorers on the apps and you'll find the show. Also, all the links are mentioned in the description box below. Also, come connect with me on Instagram at @MyBohoVoyage to catch me and my guests go live on Instagram. And if you're on Clubhouse, let's catch up for some good conversations. So without any further ado, let me welcome our amazing guest for today, founder of Sorted Brand, Mahima Jalan. So welcome to Inspiring Explorers, Mahima. Super excited to have you on Inspiring Explorers.
Same here. Super excited.
Wonderful. So I hope that this interview helps a lot of people with personal branding, because you are a personal branding coach and you have started Sorted Brand. So how did you come up with the idea of Sorted Brand?
So I think it's a very interesting question. If I talk specifically about the name, so it's a very funny story. I mean, when I joined Instagram when I was in school, I don't know why I kept my Instagram username as Miss Sorted. And it's still like a private account. It has only my close friends and family. And I started Miss Sorted just like that. I just wanted to look cool. And somehow my friends started calling me Miss Sorted after that. So I never changed it. Now, when I started my agency and I wanted to keep a name for it, I thought something that should firstly resonate with my personality, my vibe, and something that should have some meaning. Like, I didn't want it to keep a very digital marketing cliche kind of name. So I came up with the word Sorted because first, it is like very personal to me. I have my username and people know me by that name, my friends. And secondly, I also we have a vision of sorting the lives of our clients. So that's why the name came, Sorted Brand Agency. It is like very personal and very much my vibe. So yeah.
Exactly. That's a cool story. Separate account. And initially when I started, Instagram was mostly to just keep a backup of my photographs. And now it's like personal branding and digital branding and what what all, and the millennials have a lot of chance with it. So, like you mentioned about the sorted brand, so you help clients understand their personal branding goals, and I've seen on Instagram as well, on your Twitter and LinkedIn, where you take them in your classes and you sort them out with their personal branding goals initially when they're just starting. So, what is the most common problem that you see in all these people that are starting initially for their personal branding goals? What's the very first thing that they get stuck on? Very first thing that they do wrong about it?
So I think the first challenge I see, and especially if I talk about founders and entrepreneurs that are my major clients, they have this problem of not starting out. Like they want to do it, but they don't, like they always have some excuse. Either it's lack of time or effort or anything. So not starting out is, I think, the biggest challenge everyone goes through, and you just need to start. Like there are times when we get, on calls with leads who have like literally zero followers, zero following, nothing. Like it's a fresh account and they want to, like they want, to get their personal branding. And I asked them, where were you? What were you doing from so many years? Like, why is there no activity, nothing? And they're like, yeah, time nahi hai, yeah, we don't know what to put, we don't prioritize it, we are not social media friendly. So they want to leverage the advantages of personal branding, but at the same time, they don't want to put in that effort. So I think that is one of the biggest challenges I see in a lot of people, that they don't start in the first place. Once you start doing it, you'll figure out how it actually works and where you are lagging. For example, I see clients who are stuck in the middle. Like they have tried it before, but they are not able to crack the social media game. So that's like a different case. And that's like still fine that at least you tried. But then there are people who haven't even taken the first step. So I think this is one of the biggest problems, that at least start and see how you can leverage it and just try first.
Yeah, that's true. I understand that. So I freelance about Instagram marketing. So the biggest problem comes out with, oh, there's so much work to do. And I am really focusing on different things right now and not Instagram. So do you think it's the fear of perfection with them, with starting on Instagram or Twitter or LinkedIn?
Absolutely, because these are like perfectionists. At least they try to be. So, and in their respective fields, like they have done really well. All of them are, hustling day and night and doing great work. So when it comes to social media, also they want perfection, a perfect post with zero grammatical errors, properly structured. It should not look cringy, or like it should be just perfect. So with that goal to be perfect, they end up not starting, or they end up not being consistent. So I think initially, at least when you're starting out, focus on building a habit of using social media every day and putting out things on social media rather than being perfect. But then to solve this problem of perfection, we come into which, okay, you just help us with the ideation, and we'll make they actually want to be perfect because they can't compromise on that. But they don't understand that initially you need to be out there first, you need to be visible. Perfection can be taken care of. I mean, that should be secondary.
Exactly. And I would like to ask you, when you started your brand, of course, you also went out with non-perfect stuff, right? So the fear of perfection plus also making errors and putting yourself out there for people to judge you as well. So like to be inspired, like people will be inspired by you, but they'll also judge you. So how do you get away with that fear of, putting yourself out there, making failures happen, and then getting better at it? Because now you are amazing at it.
Thank you. Firstly, thank you so much. But trust me, I still make a lot of mistakes. I still do a lot of goof ups, especially on Twitter. I'm getting trolled every other day for putting something random, something stupid, because Twitter is like my personal journal. I just, put out my most random thoughts on Twitter, and you see a totally different side of me on that platform,
I do.
unlike Insta or LinkedIn. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I still get trolled, I still make mistakes. And I think I have come to terms that it's okay to make mistakes. I am a human. So if my community is expecting me to be perfect, then I think like that's something I can never promise to them. I try to be good, I try to be helpful, I try to add some value to their life or some fun, some entertainment. But I don't try to position myself as perfect and miss successful or anything like that, because that's clearly what I'm not. I still have a long way to go. And I know even after 10 years, I would be making mistakes. So it's okay. I mean, I've normalized it.
Exactly. The more mistakes you make, the more we learn and the more we get better at it. So it's mostly make mistakes, but learn from those mistakes. So yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. That's important, that you make a new mistake every time. That is, I think, more important than, running away from that fear of making mistakes.
Exactly. And rather not doing anything just because we might make mistakes. So yeah, make mistakes. That's okay.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we all make mistakes. There's nothing, like, we all should normalize it. No harm in it.
Exactly.
And then we all are learning in this, process. I mean, every other day something new is coming on social media, new conversations are happening, new formats are coming. Few years back, there was nothing like Instagram Reels. People
Exactly.
started exploring it. So we all like made mistakes initially when it came to editing or, background or anything. And like, for example, there's so many metaverse, AI, so many conversations happening which we are clueless about. At least we did not even heard of those words few years back. We are all learning in this progress. So I think there is no like point of chasing perfection. If you want to build your personal brand that is authentic and that shows who you are truly, then it's okay to make mistakes, because a normal human does make mistakes. That's absolutely normal.
Exactly. That's true. That's very true. So, like you talked about Twitter, so I see you have like a lot of followers, I think around 22K plus on Twitter. So, how did
Yeah.
you build that following? Like, Twitter is a little different than rest of, Instagram and LinkedIn. Now it's starting with videos. I see Twitter is also starting with Clubhouse things and reels, etc. But initially it was just a four-line thing, kind of like a telegram that we used to send way back in the 60s, just 4 or 5 letters. So Twitter used to be like that. So how did you build a brand on that and grow up so huge? Any tips on that?
So I started the platform very candidly, honestly. I started my Twitter account journey when this second wave of COVID came, and I knew Twitter is a great platform to get any help. And I actually took help from Twitter. I had a new account with hardly 100 followers, but I still, got help from people in Noida for this COVID thing. My parents were COVID positive. I was COVID positive. So we needed something, I think some medicine, and
Oh,
people were kind enough to help. So that's when I realized that, okay, this platform is definitely very powerful and there's a lot to be explored here. But after the COVID got over, I also relaxed and I was chill, ki chalo, theek hai, matlab, we'll explore the platform later on. But somehow I had that urge to actually, see what's inside the platform, because not everyone in my industry was, back then very active on this platform. Now, how I grew was actually, so on LinkedIn, it's a very professional platform. You are very formal, very poised, and you can't post every hour, or, you have like you post once a day max. Instagram is very aesthetic. Beautiful things sell on Instagram. Your feed should be very aesthetically pleasing and it should be like well presented, and your background and lighting and reels, everything should be on point. So again, for a platform like this, being consistent was a challenge for me, because I just that's not the real me. I'm not that aesthetic, and I'm not concerned about aesthetics and real. So maintaining Instagram was a bit challenging for me. So I was actually looking for a platform where I can just be myself, where I can talk to people who do not talk about work all the time, but I can learn from them. So I badly wanted a change in my audience. Like, my Instagram community was totally different. My LinkedIn community was fully professional. So I was really looking for some people to chill with, where I can discuss work, but that's like not the priority, where we can crack jokes and have fun. Now, Clubhouse and platforms like Telegram was not my thing, that because finding that community wasn't on priority. It was on my wish list. On Twitter, I remember Twitter Spaces started. It was like that Clubhouse thing where we all were, there, and we used to talk, and that was like an audio chatting thing, group chat kind of a thing. And it was crazy. The experience was crazy. People were just being themselves, having fun. We like interacted with so many amazing people. I remember Ranveer Allahabadia joining my space, Manish Pandey. In fact, we even hosted a space, I and two of my friends, with Anupam Mittal and Ashneer Grover from Shark Tank.
Wow.
So what, actually gave me a confidence, a motivation that this platform is something, because otherwise I can't even reach to these people, and like they are not that accessible. But Twitter made that happen, and I've got some really amazing clients through Twitter. So getting work, getting clients, building a professional network was never the aim. The aim was to build a community, find people who are like me, who I can have fun with, and a platform where I can just be myself. So that's how it started, and I think that has still kept me growing. The reason that I'm growing even till today, the reason I'm getting so much love from people from Twitter, is because that they get to see my real side, my authentic side, a different side that they don't see anywhere. So initially I used to like barely post anything professional. I just used to post fun and candid stuff. People related with me, and that's how I grew. Today I talk a mix of fun and informative stuff, because I feel if I have a following, I should also educate them and share my journey and insights with them. But I think the initial factor that helped me grow was talking to people, genuinely building relationships, and sharing my real side, authentic, fun side to them. That actually helped me. And this is something we suggest to all our clients and all the people who are trying to crack the Twitter game as well, that just be yourself. And that's like the best thing you can do on Twitter.
That's interesting that you got to meet so many amazing people. I remember on Clubhouse also this thing happened that Ranveer Allahabadia and a lot of his friends were hosting a space again, and then
Yes.
and you could talk to them, right?
Now, so a
Even
very similar thing happened. I was having a very chill space with my friend. We were doing it since 9 p.m. So it was 12 p.m. People were not ready to leave. And he was messaging me, Mahima, yeah, let's just end this. It's too much now. Even I was tired. 5 minutes later, we see Ranveer Allahabadia in the listener section. And we were like, what? This is crazy. The
yeah.
moment he joined, his audience got notified and they joined us, and it went mad. Then Radhakrishnan Pillai Sir also joined us,
Wow.
and the session went on till 3 a.m. He gave us a number, and so many things
Wow.
happened. So it was crazy. That was a crazy night.
That's so amazing. The stars were on your side that day, that night.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's amazing. You know, this Twitter space and Clubhouse, I think these are amazing to connect with a lot of people. That's true. Wonderful. And see, one thing is getting famous. So you did get a lot of followers through those spaces, but then continuing that journey and trying to be, valuable to people is another thing. So I see some of your posts reaching more than 70K plus views on Twitter. So how do you manage that? Tips on that.
Okay, so there's nothing to manage, because you really don't know what will get viral. You just keep posting, be consistent, and one day anything random can get viral. It can be something informative, but at the same time, mind you, it can be something extremely generic or stupid also. If you look at my Twitter feed or anyone's Twitter feed for that matter, you will not see only good informative stuff going viral and getting great traction. In fact, till the longest time, for like 12 months exact, I posted an informative tweet every day at 9 p.m. And it actually created an identity of mine on Twitter, a different identity, that, okay, this girl posts every day at 9 p.m. But at the same time, I realized that it was not actually helping people, because that tweet was not reaching a lot of people. I used to share one valuable insight every day without a skip. That streak was maintained till 12 months. But ultimately, people were not reading it. I mean, I was surprised. So I had to discontinue that pattern, and now I'm, more random with that, and I'm like very candidly sharing my insights without any time constraint or any such rules. But to answer your question, how to like maintain that journey, is to actually like do it for the love of Twitter and that community, and not just for the heck of it. I never post for getting clients only or getting work. That was never my aim from day one. I get it organically, I enjoy it, but that's not my priority. Hence, I post the most random, fun, chill stuff, and people connect with me and they continue engaging with me. And that's how I grow. I'm not here, on Twitter at least, to just give gyan and just work on, like, focus on getting leads and work, because that was never the agenda on day one. That's why probably so many people who are not active on LinkedIn or Insta, or we don't talk on those platforms, connected with me on Twitter, talk to me, consider me my friend. I've got so many gifts from Twitter family. I get so many pizzas and books and whatnot, every other day through my Twitter friends. So I don't want to make it a totally professional work focused platform and disappoint that community, that family that I've built. So being myself is helping me to maintain that consistency and to grow on Twitter.
That is actually very beautiful thing that you said too, for the community that you have built, and I think that's the real power. Building a fan following is a different thing, but then building a community of people that love you and you love them is something greater than. And I think that's what the focus should be on, building a community rather than building fan base and audiences.
See, I though don't consider myself that great that I have fans. They all are community. They all like my content and that's why they follow me. The word follow is, somehow used when people, actually consume your content. There can be a better word. And I'm sure one day we have this feature where pressing the follow button, we, like on Facebook, if you remember, there was a button friends, add as a friend. So
Yes.
maybe some feature like that, or then you send it that connection request. So I don't really like this fan tag or something of that sort. They are not my fans. I mean, the day I'll probably disappear from Twitter, they'll, forget me. Takes a day for people to forget and move on. So they're not my fans. Community building is very important, yes. On like if you are focused on building a very professional community, a very professional vibe since day one, then that's a different thing because your priority is sorted. Like I am like that on LinkedIn because my priorities are sorted that I want to generate leads and be a very professional person on a platform like LinkedIn. But on Twitter, that was never my goal. And that's why that particular community got, related to me and they got friends with me. So I want to continue.
Exactly, that's true. So, coming to LinkedIn, you have again a lot of followers on LinkedIn as well. So, like 39K plus followers on LinkedIn. So, how to build your personal brand on LinkedIn?
Okay, so I never, I'm not ever able to answer these questions in a line or in a paragraph. Even now, I'm giving like super long answers because I don't want to give half cooked information or I don't want to mislead the community. But if you are starting new, if you're starting fresh on LinkedIn, first build that habit of using LinkedIn, whether it is for engaging with people, replying to people, messaging people, putting out content. Build that habit, that is very important. Secondly, put content that resonates the most with your target audience. So if your target audience is all freelancers, then put content related to that, maybe tips, your personal journey, or anything that can help them or intrigues them to read. Don't put something totally off track. So put content that is relatable to your audience. And third, I think it's very important, like while building your personal brand, see everything is on Google. Today, you don't even need a paid course and you can learn literally any skill on Google. So what really makes you stand out from the crowd is your USP, your authenticity. So even if you're putting something as simple as 4 tips to start your freelancing journey, add your personal touch to it, add your personal story, your personal journey, your examples, experience, and make it authentic. Do not just make your profile look like a Google or a Wikipedia. I mean, add your authentic self. So I think that makes you actually connect with the audience and build your personal brands that's like genuinely personal. So build a habit, engage a lot with people, and put content that's relatable and authentic. That's my, these are the main tips. Other than that, there are so many things to, keep in mind. But yeah, these are
Brilliant.
like very important for beginners. Yeah.
Exactly. That's a lot of, it's a big world out there, even with Instagram, even with Twitter or LinkedIn. But I think LinkedIn is something seen differently now because of content creation rather than what we were taught in our colleges, for, resume building and CVs. And I didn't
Much
think
more to that.
exactly, it's way more than what we were used to fed in our brains with LinkedIn. And that used to be a boring LinkedIn, and now it's a very interesting LinkedIn for me, for real.
Likewise, I mean, I started my LinkedIn journey to find some internship for a college, and I ended up creating content because I used to consume a lot of content. And I was never a blog or a newsletter consumer back then. In my college times, I was not even aware of the famous YouTubers like Ranveer Allahabadia or anyone. Like, I was not into YouTube or binge watching or anything on the internet because I was not very actively using laptop. Like, it used to just lie in some corner and I used to just chill and consume things on my phone. So I never really consumed content from any other platform. So when I explored LinkedIn to find some good internship, I came across a lot of people putting content, and just to copy them, probably, I also started putting content, and that's how it all started.
Yeah, but you were a lot of your content is more relatable on LinkedIn, and of course on Twitter as well. I've seen a lot of posts of yours that are really relatable as well as amazing. And of course, I do see two different parts of you, one on LinkedIn and one on Twitter. It's different Mahima Jalan. This one's a, more the one that shares a lot more on Twitter. And then on LinkedIn, it's little professional. But of course, there is still a touch of you. And I do understand that when I started LinkedIn, so it was again, it's like for the job purposes. And then I deleted that LinkedIn and I created a new LinkedIn where the world was completely different now. It's not about, we don't even seek to people. Back then we used to not look at people that we could connect to. So it's unbelievable what Instagram
Yeah,
and social media can do for you.
absolutely, absolutely.
So again, about personal branding, if I ask you, when you created Sorted Branding, so it's been 3 years now, and I know there would have been challenges with starting all of this. So what were those challenges being a womanpreneur, solopreneur, and then building a team? So
My goodness, such a, difficult question, because there are so many challenges left, right, and center, and they still continue to exist. So, initially, I started as a freelancer. I was doing it all alone. Sorted brand was Mahima Jalan only, and people just knew Mahima. She's a freelancer, and she used to do all the work. When she started earning a little more and the workload started increasing, she hired a few interns or freelancers and contractors to help her with the work. But later on, she realized that it's high time to scale into an agency, and that's when Sorted Brand was born. Now, when I was a freelancer, I was not accountable to anyone to, for anything basically. I was taking work at my pace, I was doing it at my pace, and I was, happy. But now that I have an agency, I have a team of 10 people, I have to pay their salaries. There are so many things to look at, whether it is the client pipeline, it should always be full. You have to keep hiring great talent. That's a challenge because people come to you because of your personal brand, because of your face value. So you have to live up to their expectations, and you can't really work at this level when you have a team and you have so many clients to manage. You can't do the real work, your team does that. So you have to meet their expectations, you can't disappoint them, you have set some standards. So you have to hire great talent, you have to retain them, you have to keep them happy, understand where they are struggling, help them as much as possible. So firstly, team building is a very, very big challenge, retention is a big challenge. I mean, it's not easy. And when I was a freelancer, I used to dream of this life, and I'm still very grateful and I'm enjoying every day, but it's a lot of work. So at the same time, I feel that burnout. And some days I feel like, Arey yaar, it was so good being a freelancer. You were alone. You had a few, two, three, four good clients, and they used to pay you, you used to work as per your wish, and life was pretty sorted. But today, you are making way more money. You are living a better life. You are impacting more lives. And like today, I'm able to help 10 people pay their bills. But at the same time, it's a lot of work and responsibilities. So challenges are at every stage. You have to keep your clients happy. You have to keep your team happy. And then at the end of the day, you have to find some time for yourself amidst all the hustle bustle. So it's a lot of work and it's a lot of, stress.
I do understand that having a team and then managing clients as well as team, that is a lot of burnout for yourself. Also maintaining that brand of Mahima Jalan, because every team member should know who Mahima is and should act like a Mahima. It's kind of your shadow clones in a way.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah. So I see a lot of times that clients would say no to you. They would also ask you to, paisa kam kar do yaar, this is too costly. I want to do it in very less. So how do you manage that? Because this is difficult to hear a no sometimes, as well as for the bargaining issues when they say, please do it for less for us.
Okay, I think I have normalized a no because that's very normal. The best of people get a no. And it doesn't mean that you're not a good fit, but they have their own reasons all the time. So listening a no most of the times is like fine for me. Sometimes I get like, I'm like, I really want to work with this client and I really love their work, but still, they have their own constraints and things don't go as planned, and that's when I genuinely like feel bad. But that's the part and parcel of the business. When it comes to the negotiation part, it is very, very annoying. It's very annoying, especially when you're working with clients from India. They are big on negotiation. And I mean, this service is not as costly as everyone thinks. I mean, we are not charging lakhs for managing LinkedIn or Twitter, and the amount of value we are offering in return is way higher. But still, there's a lot of negotiation, and the worst part is that like a lot of high uh, ticket size clients do negotiation, who have a lot of money in their pockets, having big brands, well funded, very profitable. Still, they are high on negotiation. So that is a even more annoying thing, that these guys can easily afford, but still they're negotiating. But I think sometimes you have to overlook the price part, and you have to see the client that is coming in return. Sometimes the brands are like really good, you get to learn a lot and you get a very good exposure and your portfolio becomes very solid. So in that case, it's okay to accept clients who are not paying that high. Secondly, there are times when, as I mentioned, you have a team, you have to pay bills, and you have to make the most out of every person you are hiring. So you have to compromise in that case also sometimes, so that you can pay your bills conveniently. Like those low paying clients help you in your difficult times. That even if one big client, discontinues, we have some small clients so that we can, at least pay the expenses conveniently. But in that case, you can reduce your number of deliverables or the quality of work. Quality of work, I personally don't do, because that I hire like, so it's not possible for me to reduce the quality of work. I can't go and tell them कि इनके लिए अच्छा काम मत करना. But I then reduce the number of deliverables. So I have figured out to cope up with the negotiation part, because earlier when I was a freelancer, I did not work much with clients who did not pay well, because I was alone. So I had nobody to share the revenue, or I did not had much pressure. But now that I have an agency, I have bills to pay, I have to maintain a decent number of clientele every time in my funnel. So I have to accept sometimes, but then I make sure that either they're getting some value in return, or like the deal is not in, like, it's not, we are not doing it at any loss.
That's true.
It's
Because
a lie to talk, it's a lie when people say that they don't work with low paying or medium paying clients. At least those who are not at the top, like I am clearly not at the top of the game. I'm doing good, people know me, I have a decent following, but definitely not someone holding 10 years of experience. There are people with 10 years and 15 years of experience. I'm not even comparing myself to them, and they are probably working with the biggest names. But I am open to take all sorts of brands, provided they're bringing value.
that's true. That's true. So that's a good point on that as well, a new perspective. All right. So coming towards the travel experiences part, Mahima, I would like to hear some of your travel experiences that were bizarre or funny. Anything that you would like to share with us.
So I think I would like to share. So I travel twice at least every year, either with my friends or family. And I have noticed that your firsts are very special. Your first flight experience. I remember I was in sixth grade. I went to Mumbai with my family. So it was a whole Maharashtra trip. And it was more special because we went by a flight. I mean, we just went to Mumbai, and now I have been to Mumbai so many times. But the reason it was extra special was because it was my first flight experience. Then I remember my first international trip, that was to Dubai. Again, that was so special for me. It was a family trip, and it was more special because it was an international trip. Otherwise, there are more beautiful places to explore, and it's not that Dubai is something, but like still, it was extra special because it was my first trip. I loved the place. I would love to visit there again. But I know that feeling of going to an international place for the first time is totally different than going to, a place for the second or third time. So that first trip was again very special. Then I went to Manali with my friends for the first time when I was in graduation. So that was very fun. That was very special. And then last year, I took my first workation. So I carried my laptop and I did some work, and I went with my work friend Sakshi, and we had a blast. We went to Dehradun, and it was such a great time. And also, it was my first experience at a hostel. I've never stayed at a hostel. So that was again very new for me, because someone who is used to staying at hotels where you get all the services, and you're just one phone away, and you get everything served at your room. It was such a different experience that there was no water bottle, and I was like, where's the water? And she was like, you have to get it on your own. It's a hostel, you don't get all these facilities there. And I was like, oh my god. Then like there was no room service basically. So that was a very different experience, but it was fun. So I think like for me, my first experiences have always been very special.
Wonderful. And how was Dubai for you? Like a change of place, and a change of culture, of course. Dubai for me was really hot, and then I see a foreigner lying on the beach, and I'm like, I'm burning here, and you're soaking in the sun. Like, it's not for tanning; your skin would literally come off.
Absolutely, absolutely. It was so that's why we consciously went in December. It was still far better. And firstly, you walk a lot. At almost every international destination you have to walk a lot. So that was a change. Although
True.
they are so clean, they are so less polluted that you don't feel like you have walked a lot. For like if you walk for say 2-3 kilometers, that's pretty normal. But still, after walking say 5 to 7 kilometers, you actually feel that you have done something. So you walk a lot. That was very different. Then I'm a pure vegetarian. So that like I was scared that food will be a big challenge, but thankfully in Dubai there are a lot of restaurants that offer pure vegetarian food, and
Yeah.
they taste exactly like what you have at an Indian Haldiram. So we were at ease when we were in Dubai, and food wasn't a challenge basically. Plus, currency shock is a thing. When you go for the first time, you have
Yeah.
no idea. All the time you're just calculating it and you're just converting it, and those it was mad, and you buy everything so thoughtfully. So that's something very different, because you don't do it usually when you go at a normal trip in India. I mean, if you're from a decent family, it's like okay, you don't have to think before buying a samosa or a cold drink or anything. But
True.
there you keep calculating. So that was actually very different. But overall, the city is beautiful. It's mesmerizing.
It is. And I'm also a vegetarian. So, fun fact when in Dubai is that you also get Jan food. Like,
Yes,
they
yes.
give you Jani foods as well. Like, even in
Yes.
your that desert safari
Abu
thing.
Dhabi.
Yeah, in Abu Dhabi. Yeah.
Yeah, so like on day one itself, we explored a restaurant that served food exactly like Haldiram. Like it was a multi-cuisine place, and it served everything, and it was a pure vegetarian restaurant. So it wasn't even like, it was serving non-veg. It was a pure vegetarian, exactly like Haldiram. And it was very close to our hotel. So my parents were at ease that we are sorted now. We don't need to, scout for more places to have food at least in the morning and at night. They were so much at ease. They felt so homely there because of the restaurant, because of the food, that we like all for like it was a 7-day trip, I think. And for like every single day we went to that place. Imagine we did like they were so, because the parents like things are different. They are
Yeah,
like they look for comfort. We still
exactly.
are open to experimenting, but they were so comfortable with that homely Indian food that we ate that, food for every single day.
That's true. Dubai offers you a lot of pure vegetarian food,
Yeah, it's a
especially.
very homely vibe.
It is, it is. With your parents, you should take a trip to Dubai if they're vegetarian. Yeah, that's true.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
That's
Yeah.
like the first international destination. I think like that's like a very ideal family vacation place.
Yeah, and if you have vegetarian parents, do not take them to Asia. Anywhere in Asia.
Yeah.
That's a struggle then. Otherwise.
Absolutely.
Although Singapore has a lot of vegetarian
Yeah, it
again.
has.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So but
It
you have
has.
to again walk a lot.
That's,
Otherwise,
I think, there, huh?
yeah. All right. So you were also into job. So what made you quit your job?
So I think I was not at the right place probably that time when I was doing my job, and I was not doing the work I was enjoying. There was a lot of, I would say, corporate politics that I was clueless about because I was just 21. Hence, not in fact, I would like to give that credit to my parents. They asked me to quit the job because I was still trying to convince myself that this is the corporate world. Welcome to the reality. This is how it is. And you have to accept and embrace it. And the fact that every month at a fixed date, a salary is coming with incentives, you are getting Diwali gifts, office parties, and all that life that you were always craving for because that's what you see growing up, that's what you aim growing up. So I was still trying to convince myself that this is what I'm made for, because I clearly did not want to pursue masters at that point. I thought it's a waste of money. I don't want to do an MBA. I don't want to get into MA in English honors. I did my BA in English honors. So I was very sure that something like I don't want to masters in it. I don't want to go for an MBA. So I was comfortable. Like I was unhappy, but I was trying to like sink in. But I was maybe if there would have been some MNC with a better role, I wouldn't have thought of it, and my parents would have been more comfortable. But because that wasn't the case, like I was at a very good company, but I was not with the right set of people, probably, or the right set of culture. There was a lot of work. I used to work for 15 hours easily. I was not paid that high. I was exploited. I used to beg for, you know, just one leave for my sister's engagement, real sister's engagement. I had to beg for it. And that was the time when my parents were like, no, this is not going to work. It's like work is very important. We also work, but we do need to take time for our family. And if your company is not giving you leaves for your real sister's engagement also, then there is something wrong. So you have to leave the job right now. That was like told to me one night when I came home very late with a very sad face. So the next day I, put down my papers, and because it was in the middle of the year, I think it was April, May, and all the entrances were already done, and I didn't want to waste another year. I quickly went for masters. Then lockdown happened. I explored LinkedIn, and here I am today.
Exactly. Your LinkedIn story is like beautiful. All right. So would like to share any last messages for our listeners?
Okay, so I think one message I would like to give to everyone, whether you are in any XYZ field, trying to crack the social media game, whether for your work or yourself, I would just advise you guys to reach out to people you want to talk. You're just one message away. I've messaged the most unaccessible people with the hope that they will never reply me, but they have ended up becoming my clients, my friends. I've hanged out with them. I have worked with them, and if not all, I've at least spoken to them. And something is better than nothing. Focus on building connections. Do not reach out to people only for work. Do not just talk to people only for your selfish reasons all the time. Focus on building real connections as well. And that is definitely going to take you a long way.
True, very true. That's very true. Building connections is something that I absolutely love doing as well, and I ask everybody to do that as well. Like build
Absolutely.
connections that's going to take you long way and going to stay with you for a longer way. That is true.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And as
Yeah,
well,
agree.
agreed, yes. And all the links to connect with Mahima Jalan will be in the description box below. So do go check her out. She's amazing, and especially her Twitter and LinkedIn. And of course, Instagram. Thank you
Uh, you
so
know,
much, Mahima.
My pleasure. I mean, I should thank you for inviting me here. It's been really long. I have spoken to my community, and I think this podcast is going to be a great medium for them also to, listen to what I'm currently thinking about, Twitter or LinkedIn or what's happening on the work front. And it was lovely chatting with you. You were such a patient host, so I just loved coming here.
Same, likewise. I absolutely loved hosting you, Mahima. And thank you so much for being on Inspiring Explorers and sharing your inspiring insights about all of these things that you're doing, and especially the behind the scenes that we miss out on. The struggles with the client, also building a community on Twitter. And so many points that we cover here are, very, very important. And I hope people will gain value from this podcast as well. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
So this was Mahima's journey so far in some interesting travel experiences, and I hope you gained some insights from this episode. Thank you so much for giving your precious time to this podcast. If this episode was inspiring and insightful, please do drop a comment on my Instagram and YouTube at @MyBohoVoyage. Also do check out my YouTube channel at @MyBohoVoyage for the video version of this episode. Please do subscribe and give a 5-star rating and hopefully write a review for Inspiring Explorers. Also, please don't forget to connect with me on Instagram and YouTube. Drop me a hi or send me a comment so that I know we are in this journey together. This is Meenakshi Srivastava, your host for Inspiring Explorers, saying goodbye. See you next week with an amazing, inspiring interview. Till then, take care.